All right. So 10-4-23. The most important thing you'll probably learn from me this whole school year. How to add integers with the rule. How to add integers with the rule. So yesterday you guys reviewed from 6th grade how to add with the number line and how to add with the positive and negative tiles at the end of the video. That's great for small numbers. But what if the numbers that I give you are like negative 72 plus 36? Are you going to draw a number line all the way to negative 72 and then 36? Are you going to sit there and draw negative 72 tiles and 36 positive tiles? No, right? It's going to take too long. There has to be a better way. And there is a better way, a more efficient way.
Is it negative 36?
So, you're going to get 2 rules. Let's talk about rule number 1 first. If the signs are the same, you will add and keep the sign. Okay? So rule number 1. If the signs are the same, you will add and keep the sign. Like I just said, I don't know if you caught it. This is the most important thing I will teach you in the whole school year. This, today. You will use it in high school, and if you go to college, you'll use it in college. Not everything I teach you, you'll use in high school. This is one of the things that you will use 100% in high school. So, keep that in mind when you're trying to really understand what we're doing here. All right. So, what do I mean if they're the same? Let's say I have negative 5 plus negative 4. What kind of number is the first number? What kind of number? It's a negative number. What kind of number is the second number? It's also a negative number here. So we have 2 numbers that are negative. So you see how they're both negatives? Yes. So if they're the same, they're both negative, so that means that they're the same. What am I going to do with these 2 numbers? I'm going to add them. Very good. And you keep the sign. So my answer will be?
Negative 1.
Negative 9.
We add them because they're the same. They're both negatives, so we add them. Okay, now what if I give you bigger numbers? Negative 55 plus 40. What kind of number is the first number? Negative. What kind of number is the second number? A negative. So they're both negatives, right? So if they're both negatives, you're going to add them. So go ahead and add. And then you keep the sign. So I keep the negative sign. I add these 2 and I get?
95.
Negative 95. So this is when the signs are the same. They're the same. Do you see how I wrote N and N? What do I expect you to have on your notes? The N and N. So you can see like, oh, that's right. She identified this as negative. She identified this one as negative. So they're both negative. You add them. What if I give you negative 10 plus negative 17? The first one's negative, and the second one's negative. So they're both negative. We identified them both as negative. So you're going to add them, and you get a negative number, and we add them, so we get negative 27. Are we okay with this part?
Yeah.
All right, this is like level 1, right? If they're the same, you add, and then you keep the sign. Yes. Good. Rule number 2. If the signs are different, if the signs are different, you will
Subtract.
yes. Good. And and what? What do I do with the sign?
You keep the sign of the biggest number.
I have a question for you, Sophia. If I have -5, the circle from elementary school, alligator goes in here, and the number 2, which number is bigger? 2. Right, so the alligator would be eating the 2 in elementary school, remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 is bigger, right?
Yeah.
If I were to be adding these numbers, would my answer be negative or positive?
Negative.
Negative.
Negative. Because you're subtracting 2 from 5.
Negative.
Okay. Keep that in mind. Okay. So, how do I determine which sign? It's not which one's bigger, because that one's not bigger. Okay.
Which one's the smallest? Yeah.
No.
Why would I take the sign of the smallest number? Think about the tiles. If I have 5 negative tiles and 2 positive tiles, which one has more tiles?
Negative.
All right. And ask yourself, write this down. You're going to ask yourself this question. What do you have more of? Question mark. What do you have more of? Do you have more negatives or do you have more positives? Never, ever, 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 ever say it's bigger. Because technically, mathematically, it's not bigger. It's what you have more of. So for example, let's go with -5 plus 2. Identify. Are they the same or are they different? Different. This one's a negative, and what kind of number is the 2?
Positive.
A positive. So you have a negative and a positive. So they're different. So you're going to subtract. If they're different, you subtract. Okay, what is 5 minus 2?
Negative 3.
Why is it negative?
Because you subtract.
No,
There's more negative.
because there's more negatives. There's more negatives than there are you want to think of in your brain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 0 pairs. What do you have left over? More negatives. So your answer is negative because you have more, not because it's bigger. Because technically the 2 is bigger, not the 5. -5. Yes?
Couldn't you just
No.
use KCF, but basically just use change. Just change the addition sign to subtraction.
No. Never. You will go over here and subtract it, but this doesn't change. And the reason I say never with such a harsh word, later on. So don't think about it that way. Don't change addition to subtraction. Never. 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 All right. What is 100 plus -50? Do I want to draw out 100 positive tiles, Desiree? No, but I want to write this down and pay attention. Yes, that is true. So, are they the same or are they different? Different. This one's a positive. This one's a negative. So you're going to add or subtract. Let's wake up. Subtract. What's 100 minus 50?
Negative 50.
So it's 50. Now go back to your problem and go, I have 100 positives and I only have 50 negatives.
Positive.
What do you have more of?
Positive.
More positive. So your answer is positive, not negative, positive, because I have way more positives. All right. -10 plus 3.
Negative 7.
Why is it negative?
Because it has more elements.
It has more negatives.
More negatives, not because it's bigger. So -7. So if they're different, this one's negative, this one's positive. What are you going to do if they're different? You're going to subtract. Now you subtract like on the side if you need to or in your head. You don't change this to a subtraction. Okay? All right, one last one. What is 15 plus -20? Why is it negative?
Because there's more negatives.
Because there's more negatives. Never say it's bigger, because technically it's actually not bigger. It's what you have more of. So, to recap, what do I do if they're the same? You add. Add and keep. What if they're different? You subtract. And then you ask yourself what you have more of, okay? So if they're the same, add. If they're different, subtract.
Miss, can we do it on X?
All right, let's do the first one. Ask yourself, are they the same or are they different?
Different.
They're different. So what are you going to do when they're different?
Subtract.
Page in front of you. Genesis, come on. You have to pretend like you're actually working. Come on. Come on. So this one's a positive. This one's a negative. So they're different, right? I wrote a P for positive, N for negative. So they're different. So what do I do when they're different? Subtract. You can go on the side or you can do it in your head. If you can do it in your head, fine. If you can't, you're going to go on the side. Use your fingers. Subtract.
We do that through our work. We subtract.
What did I just say? Did anybody listen?
The answer is 6.
Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. You have more positives than negatives.